Welcome back. Thank you for staying with us. St. Lucia's travel bubble has been revised. As of the 7th of August, the St. Lucia Bubblecation promotion has also been revised as a result. Bahamas and Jamaica have been removed from the list of countries within the bubble, and a close eye is being kept on Bermuda. The public relations manager of the St. Lucia Tourism Authority, Doreen Georges, indicated that the constant revision is to ensure that St. Lucia keeps the COVID-19 virus under control and at bay.
On July 30th, 2020, the St. Lucia Tourism Authority, SLTA, announced the introduction of its latest marketing campaign, Bubblecation. As part of the promotion, visitors within the bubble countries with a travel history from these areas in the last 21 days would be exempt from quarantine once in possession of a negative test no more than 7 days prior to travel. Given COVID-19 developments in some territories, St. Lucian officials have had to reassess and make changes. The public relations manager of the St. Lucia Tourism Authority, Doreen Georges, has indicated that 2 countries have been removed from the bubble and another remains under consideration.
The Department of Health and Wellness continues to monitor the various countries to determine which should be added or eliminated from the bubble considerations. In doing so, countries like Jamaica and the Bahamas were previously listed, but were removed due to considerations of risk associated with travel from these jurisdictions. As it relates to Bermuda, while they have not been eliminated from the bubble, should one originate from Bermuda with travel considerations via a country outside the bubble, they would automatically lose the bubble status and be treated as an international traveler, following all the necessary on-island protocols, including pre-testing, pre-filling of the travel registration form, and 14-day quarantine.
She explained that the Tourism Authority will continue working in tandem with the Ministry of Health and Wellness to ensure that the safety and status of the island is preserved when it comes to the threat of COVID-19. Georges speaks on the travel bubble as it currently exists.
As we continue to drive the momentum with Bubblecation, as of August 7, 2020, the following countries form a part of the Caribbean bubble. That includes Antigua and Barbuda, Aruba, Anguilla, Barbados, Bermuda, Bonaire, the British Virgin Islands, Carriacou, Dominica, Grenada, Guyana, Montserrat, St. Barthélemy, St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and Trinidad and Tobago.
She noted that the Department of Health, in collaboration with the Ministry of Tourism, continues to monitor the situation. Reporting for Hot 7 News, I am Genevieve Gonzague.
Following a COVID-19 controversy that played out in St. Vincent, where a St. Lucian national had traveled to that country in July and tested positive for the disease, only to be tested negative days later, the regional travel bubble has come into question. However, Health Minister Mary Isaac tells Hot 7 TV that the concerns are misplaced. Isaac says rather than focus on tourists, the bigger problem is that of returning nationals who come in through illegal backdoor passages and those who refuse to remain in quarantine. The health minister says the tourists are by far more cooperative than returning nationals. Rochelle Gonzalez reports.
Unruly returning locals have become the biggest concern to St. Lucia's fight against COVID-19. This is what has been indicated by the island's health minister Mary Isaac when she was asked about concerns surrounding the current travel bubble that exists in the region. The Travel Bubble Initiative sees the allowance of visitors within the bubble countries, including Barbados and the countries of the Eastern Caribbean, with a travel history from these areas in the last 21 days being exempt from quarantine. However, they are required to obtain a PCR negative test result no more than 7 days prior to date of travel and are subject to mandatory screening on arrival. The fresh concerns were raised following a recent incident where a St. Lucian woman who traveled to St. Vincent in July received a false positive when she was tested upon arrival in the neighboring island. Isaac said it is not the visitors that locals should be concerned with, rather they should look closer to home.
Our only threat, real threat, is that now we have people who are coming in through the back door, as well as the nationals who refuse to obey the protocols. These are our threats right now. And it actually is not the tourists or anybody else. It's really the nationals that are trying to come in through the back door, as well as those who are coming in, and they are really giving the authorities a hard time. They don't want to go into quarantine, or you give them home quarantine and then they do not stay home. They're everywhere in public. And these are the challenges that we are having right now. And if people understand why we have these protocols in place, that it is not only to protect myself or you, it is to protect those very same people, their families, our elderly people, our children. It is to protect an entire society, not just one individual or two.
Isaac said returning nationals are properly informed of the protocol, yet they insist on being difficult. She said in the end, St. Lucians and the world must realize that COVID-19 is going nowhere anytime soon, and so we must learn to adapt.
We are talking about living with COVID. We are talking about the new norm. And as such, we have to put what is necessary in place so that we as individual countries, nations, can survive with COVID. COVID is not going away now, as you probably well know. We do not know how long it's going to be with us in the state that it is, where we don't have a vaccine. So we might as well just get used to living with COVID. We have to continue to contain, what little we have on island, which is just about 3 people who are recovering very, very nicely. We must continue to maintain our protocols at the borders so that we do not allow people who are COVID positive to just enter.
Although, according to the minister, the visitors have behaved better than the nationals, it must be noted that there have been at least 5 cases where tourists broke protocol and ventured out away from their designated hotels and mingled with locals. In one case, one American citizen was even sent back to the U.S. for repeatedly refusing to adhere to the island's set protocols. Reporting for Hot 7 News, I am Rochelle Gonzalez.
The National Council on Public Transportation, NCOPT, says discussions continue with relevant authorities with regard to the fuel rebate ordered to operators. President of the NCOPT, Godfrey Ferdinand, says he has heard many arguments as to who should receive the rebate. However, he says the NCOPT is only responsible for collecting the money. Genevieve Gonzaga has more.
There has been much talk about the highly anticipated fuel rebate for months now. Negotiations are currently ongoing with the National Council on Public Transportation and the Ministry of Transportation on a date for the rebate to be issued. The president of the NCOPT, Godfrey Ferdinand, explained that the fuel rebate has been owed to bus operators for over a year now, and they deserve what is rightfully theirs.
So the rebate is the council accepting, while in negotiation with the government for bus fare increase. Instead of a bus fare increase, the government gives us a rebate. Now, the council takes into consideration several factors when we accept the rebate. We take in consideration the economic situation in the country at the time, which would reflect on our customers, whether or not they would be able to pay a bus fare increase or not. We take into consideration whether or not a bus fare increase would affect us, or should we just accept the rebate. So for the past couple of years, we've been accepting the rebate from 2008.
Ferdinand indicated that Council is holding on to hope that the monies will be given to them soon, given the level of discourse that has taken place during the last month.
In the next 2 weeks, we'll be having a meeting with the minister. And our last meeting with the minister also made a pronouncement that we would be getting the rebate in the next week or in the next 2 weeks, whenever funds are available. That is a bit tricky for the operators in that they're saying we've been waiting for more than a year for this rebate. And I'm hoping that this rebate comes in in the next 2 weeks so that that could settle that matter once and for all.
He weighed in on debate regarding who should receive the rebate. He says the NCOPT's only role is collecting on behalf of the permit owner. Whoever receives the money is not determined by them.
Most times, or if not all the time, the council pays the owner of the permit. How it is distributed is not really our concern. Our concern is permit holder, you get the permit, the rebate, and you with your driver or whosoever you've got done business with, you all determine how it is shared or disbursed. But our sole responsibility at council is to accept the rebate on the behalf of the permit holder, and then the permit holder, if he is in business with anybody, determines how it is shared, if it's the driver, cousin, or whosoever.
The public transportation sector is to receive $1.1 million worth of fuel rebate. Reporting for Hot 7 News, I am Genevieve Gonzaga.
The St. Lucia Labour Party is applauding the revocation of Cabinet Conclusion 855 and commending the Civil Service Association, CSA, on its strong representation on behalf of members. SLP Communications Officer Monty Lewis says the party is disheartened by the consideration of such policies and is pleased to see that the CSA refused to yield even when confronted by the Cabinet Secretary. Shaka Wooding has more.
The SLP claims that even the suggestion to have public service appointments vetted by the Cabinet of Ministers was untrustworthy and illegal. Lewis says it is a people's duty to keep a watchful eye on the policies being explored by a government.
The St. Lucia Labour Party wishes to congratulate the Civil Service Association for the representation it continues to provide for its members, which has resulted in the revocation of Cabinet Conclusion 855. That Cabinet conclusion effectively gave the Cabinet of Ministers the power to make appointments in the public service contrary to Section 86 of the Constitution of St. Lucia, under which the Public Service Commission is the body authorized to make such appointments.
The SLP claims that even the suggestion to have public service appointments vetted by the Cabinet of Ministers was untrustworthy and illegal. Lewis says it is a people's duty to keep a watchful eye on the policies being explored by a government.
It is incumbent on civil society to be vigilant. Democracy thrives when the people are watchful of their government, and that is why the CSA's actions in this matter deserves commendation. Cabinet Conclusion 855 should never have been issued. The St. Lucia Labour Party remains committed to holding this government accountable for its transgressions.
The SLP further calls for greater involvement of trade union representatives during the drafting of policies which will guide the public sector. Jacka Wooding, Hot 7 News.
Trinidad and Tobago Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley claimed victory for his ruling party in a general election on Monday, securing a second term despite concern over COVID-19, migration and recession in the energy-rich Caribbean country. The election campaign in the twin island nation of 1.3 million people was overshadowed by COVID-19, with traditional colorful political rallies replaced by streamed rallies and noisy motorcades. Trinidad and Tobago, which has been officially closed to travel since March, has registered a relatively low total of 280 cases of the virus and 8 deaths, a fact the ruling PNM heralded as testament to its successful handling of the outbreak. Trinidad and Tobago's economy has not fared well of late, contracting 7 out of the last 10 years, largely due to lower energy prices. The ruling party has said it will continue to seek to diversify the economy by boosting exports of energy services, digitizing services to improve ease of business, and providing support to the private sector. This is the Hot 7 TV Nightly News. Stay with us. There's much more coming up after the break.